はすり鉢状の大穴だ。
あいつのかけた呪いに感謝する日が来るとはな。
Right after Alicia falls into the ravine, she begins to stir, groaning softly as she tries to move. Her consciousness is still hazy, but there's one thing she can clearly understand. She's alive. Her body lies crushed between rocks and earth, but her breathing hasn't stopped. Somehow she's still clinging to life. She tries to remember what happened. Most likely, she fell into a trench, and her bones shattered on impact when she hit the ground. She attempts to lift her arms, to move her legs, but nothing responds. She's completely paralyzed. No feeling below her neck, only coldness and silence. What's happening to my body? She wonders. Fear begins to creep in. If she stays here too long, the enemy will eventually find her. She cannot let that happen. Not like this. She forces herself to move, pushing her will into muscles that no longer obey. No matter the pain or how hopeless it seems, she has to try. Move! She whispers to herself. And at that exact moment, her body suddenly feels weightless. At the same time, the warm liquid on the ground begins to tremble, flowing together into one. Her own blood, which had pooled around her, starts to rise and swirl in the air. Seeing this, Alicia stares in disbelief. Huh? Is that my blood? A dark, dense vortex forms just above the ground, as if some unseen force is calling, pulling, and reuniting all the spilled blood. A strange sound comes from within it, like hissing and the breath of something hidden in the shadows. Then, something appears. From the frozen swirl of blood, a figure takes shape. Black, solid, with a face-like symbol staring out from a dark red mist. Yes, this is the demon god, Clevates. And from this point, he finally speaks directly to Alicia. You fool, you've lost far too much blood, the creature says. It stands in a form resembling a small dog, yet the aura it gives off is terrifying. Alicia stares at it in confusion, her voice weak. What's with this puppy form? Clevates responds flatly. His appearance depends on the amount of blood available. That same blood is the only thing keeping Alicia's body alive. If it's all gone, she will die for good. However, if Clevates still finds her useful, then he can force the blood back into her body. If he does that, her body will heal quickly, unless something is entirely missing. Alicia looks up, exhausted. Then why don't you just do it already? Are you going to leave me behind? Clevates stares at her silently. No. He steps closer, as if wanting to confirm something. There's something I need to ask you first, before I heal you. I found a woman named Nell. She's a bandit, but I saw potential in her, as a wet nurse for the baby named Luna. So I tried to recruit her, invite her into my group, but she refused. Even though I offered her freedom, she still chose to stay here. I don't understand humans. So tell me, why would she reject my offer? Hearing this, Alicia finally begins to respond. Listen, there are a lot of reasons why Nell turned you down. But if I had to sum it up, it goes like this. First, Nell is a slave to the bandits. If she tries to run, they'll kill her. Second, from her perspective, you are also a slave. So how could she possibly trust you, someone she sees as another captive? But if you really want to recruit Nell, there's still one way left. You'll have to destroy this place, kill every single bandit until there's no one left. Only then will she be truly free from their reach. And for someone like you, a demon god, that shouldn't be difficult. At that moment, Clevates responds instantly. I can't use my powers here. If my disguise is revealed, if people learn that I've left my lair, it will cause chaos. Luna's safety could be put at risk. That's why, instead, you will do everything for me. You will kill every last bandit in this place. If you agree, I'll restore your life using my power. And just like that, without hesitation, Clevates reinfuses Alicia's blood directly back into her body. Because of that, her broken limbs are healed. And because of that, Alicia is now able to stand, though the pain still lingers. In short, Alicia may not be able to die, but she can still feel pain if her body is attacked. Soon after, the same group of bandits who had attacked her earlier returned, this time to retrieve what they assumed was her corpse. But once they reached the bottom of the cliff, they're instantly shocked. They never expected Alicia to still be alive after falling from such a height. Instinctively, they draw their weapons. The battle begins. In this panel, Alicia speaks directly to us. To fight against this many bandits, she needs a weapon. So she does something reckless. She allows herself to be struck by one of their swords. And when the blade pierces into her arm, that's when she grabs it, taking the weapon for herself. Now she's armed and ready to fight back. And on the same page, she lands a powerful blow against one of the enemies, all while issuing a warning. Listen, I may look like this, but I am a hero. So since you're all bandits, I won't feel a shred of guilt killing you. Get ready, because this is the end of your lives. Now that Alicia had made her decision to fight, the scene instantly shifts to a different perspective, this time to Nell. In this segment, we see Nell having a quiet conversation with Shiz. She confides in him, saying that she's often dreamed of living freely. If she were ever given the chance, she'd love to escape and see the outside world. Upon hearing this, Shiz immediately warns her. For a slave, saying things like that is dangerous. If Nell were to speak of freedom to anyone besides him, she would almost certainly be killed on the spot. Unfortunately, that warning came too late. From behind them, the bandit leader happened to be passing by and overheard every word Nell had just said. Without waiting another second, the bandit boss steps into the room and addresses them directly. In short, he tells Nell he has a surprise for her, but Shiz knows what that really means. Whenever the boss says that, it's code for death. The next panel shows the boss taking Nell to the underground chambers. Once they arrive at the lowest floor, the boss extinguishes the candles and speaks into the darkness. Betty, it's feeding time. The moment those words leave his mouth, a monstrous creature named Betty emerges. Without delay, Betty attacks. She devours Nell, ripping her body apart before swallowing her whole. It is at this moment that the demon god Clevates arrives. With a chilling aura and a piercing gaze, he speaks to the creature. Looks like I'm too late. Don't cry, Luna. This is the rule of the world. Eat or be eaten. I gave Nell the chance to leave, but she turned it down, and now she's dead. Still, I regret this. If only I had come a bit sooner. Perhaps she could have been saved. Meanwhile, we shift briefly to Betty's point of view. Despite Clevates disguising himself as a child, Betty senses it. She can feel the overwhelming pressure. The one standing before her is one of the 4 demon gods of the world. There's no mistaking it, this is Clevates. In a panic, Betty suddenly vomits Nell's body back up and tries to flee. Although Nell's body is mangled, she's still breathing. If Clevates acts fast, there's still a chance to save her. Clevates gently lowers Luna from his back, then uses his power to send Luna and Betty's body into a separate chamber. Before doing so, he speaks softly to Luna. Luna, guard Betty's body. Once I finish things here, I will bring her back. Witnessing all of this unfold before his eyes, Boss Broco becomes furious. On one hand, he's shocked. His experimental monster is terrified by a mere child. On the other, he begins to question, who is this kid? How can he frighten a creature like Betty just by looking at her? Fueled by confusion and rage, Broco decides to take action. He pulls out a small bottle filled with glowing green liquid from his pocket. He then pours it into the lantern's flame. Immediately, thick smoke floods the chamber. Betty inhales it and goes into a wild frenzy. Still on the same page, we see Betty now charging at Clevates. No hesitation, no fear. With a single powerful strike, she manages to wound the demon god, even if just slightly. Thus begins the first battle, Clevates versus Betty. But as always, the scene cuts away again, this time back to Alicia. We return to her battle. Though fighting alone, and armed only with a stolen dull sword, Alicia manages to defeat most of the bandits using a variety of techniques, from swallow spin blade style to direct kill intent slashes. Each move is deadly and precise. Unfortunately, the poor quality blade can't keep up. After several intense swings, it breaks. At that moment, Alicia pauses to think. Even though she's a hero, and even though she cannot die, her stamina is still limited. which means if she tires out during this fight, she could still be defeated. But worse than that, if she's captured, she won't die. And that means the bandits would have full freedom to do whatever they want to her body, without fear of it perishing. That horrifying possibility drives her to a decision. If she truly wants to win, there's only one option left. She needs to retrieve the hero's sword, buried deep at the bottom of the lake. Because if she can wield the true hero's weapon, then surely the full extent of her powers will finally awaken. Thus, Alicia wastes no time. She slashes down the bridge they were fighting on, causing most of the bandit troops to plunge into the lake below. And while the lake monsters begin devouring the bodies of the fallen bandits, Alicia leaps in as well, diving deep with one goal in mind: to retrieve the hero's sword. But her journey to reach it is anything but easy. Even after several minutes underwater, she still can't reach the bottom. Though she cannot die, her body is beginning to strain under the crushing pressure at the lake's depths. If this keeps up, she knows her body might be torn apart. Just when her vision begins to blur and her mind starts to slip, she sees it, a glint from below. It's the blade, the hero's sword that has slumbered at the bottom of the lake for hundreds of years. Waterfall Slicer, a legendary sword said to cleave through torrents like a falling blade of the heavens. But just as Alicia lays her hands on the sword, the Kraken awakens. The ancient guardian of the lake, its massive limbs stir, and without hesitation, it attacks. A tentacle slams into Alicia, tearing open her abdomen. At that moment, Alicia activates the sword. With a single motion, she uses the waterfall slicer's power to launch herself through the water like a rocket breaking through currents. She immediately realizes, with this sword, her strength multiplies. She strikes again, this time executing a slash underwater. Right as 4 lake monsters lunge toward her, a single strike cleaves through all of them. Their bodies fall apart, defeated instantly by Alicia's overwhelming new power. At first, Alicia considers confronting the Kraken. After all, it's the ruler of this lake. But she quickly reconsiders. The Kraken is too powerful right now. And more importantly, she still has orders from Clevates. She must eliminate the remaining bandits and save Nell. With that, Alicia makes her choice: retreat. She escapes from the depths and begins her return journey. Along the way, she cuts down the remaining bandits, one after another, until not a single one is left standing. And from here, the scene transitions back to the demon god Clevates. He has defeated Betty, but his human body is exhausted. Fighting in a mortal form is difficult for him. And now, with Boss Broco unleashing a form of high-level magic sorcery, things are only getting worse. That's why Clevates issues a new command to Alicia. She must come to him immediately to help finish this battle. There are several crucial reasons why the Demon King, Clevates, now finds himself in such a state of desperation and exhaustion. Reasons that, if fully understood, would make it clear why even a being as powerful as him is now struggling. The first reason lies in something we've already touched upon earlier. Clevates is currently fighting in the body of a small human child, a fragile, incomplete form that severely limits his true power. Because if he were to exert even a fraction more of his real strength, the balance of the entire world would be shaken. The creatures lurking in the shadows, the ancient monsters, the rival demon lords, would sense it instantly. His aura, his presence, his divine nature, none of it could remain hidden. And once that happens, once the world realizes that Clevates has left his lair, there would be no turning back. The delicate equilibrium that separates order and chaos would crumble. The factions of light, the heroes of the new age, would rise, swords in hand, to track him down and destroy him. But that is not what Clevates fears the most. What truly terrifies him is that in such a clash, it won't be him who dies, but the baby girl in his arms, Luna. He made a vow to raise and protect that child, to give her a future, and if he were to fall in battle or even draw too much attention to himself, then the wrath of the world would descend upon Luna. She would be hunted, used, or worse, erased simply for being connected to him. That is a price Clevates will never pay. The second reason, perhaps even more humiliating for a being of his caliber, is simple yet deeply unsettling. Clevates has no knowledge of human sorcery. For thousands of years, he has roamed the world, ruling over monsters, leading demonkind, and tearing armies apart with raw might. But never, not once in his eternal life, has he encountered this strange structured form of magic known as sorcery. And now, in this moment of weakness, he finds himself face to face with a human, Broko, who has weaponized this unfamiliar force into something lethal. The energy flows differently. It doesn't follow natural laws or primal instincts like monster magic does. It bends reality with symbols, rules, and calculations. And for the first time in his life, he feels lost in battle. He doesn't understand the mechanics. He doesn't understand the source. He doesn't even know how to counter it. It is here, in this very moment, where Clevates, normally proud and unreadable, snaps. His expression tightens. His voice, sharp with frustration, trembles as he calls out to Alicia, "When you arrive, you will explain to me what this sorcery is, why it exists, how it works, and how to destroy it." A command, a plea, and a confession of weakness, all in one breath. These two reasons, his limited vessel and his ignorance of human magic, are what have shackled the might of Clevates. They are the chains that now bind a demon god, and until Alicia returns, he must endure. With that, the third episode of Clevates comes to a close. And, as always, thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next video. Ciao!